All right. Hi, everybody. Orcrist here to go over some new shrine coordinate warp tech that needs a tutorial. So we've got some older videos that are still out there, and maybe this will kind of help update things. So, what are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about some advanced storage methods. We're going to talk about the new Infinity SCW science and what makes it work. We're going to talk about quick text boxes. We're going to talk about the full splits where you're going to be using this new tech, and maybe answering some questions too. And all of this will be on YouTube eventually, so if you missed this, don't worry about it. It'll be highlighted. It'll also be on YouTube, so don't stress out. Okay. Also, if you want to just skip to how do I do this, there are going to be bookmarks or, timestamps in the video. So feel free to go over there. That's fine if you want to skip that stuff. All right. Okay. First thing first. You probably know from older tutorials that the thing that we do for the most part to get storage these days, or to get storage in like older videos, is we use campfires, right? These are nice and safe. It has an updraft that never goes away. Even if you're inside the elevator, you're going to be able to get lift off pretty easily, right? Well, that's all well and good, but collecting fires is slow, obviously, or collecting camp wood bundles is slow, and it's just more time that you don't need to spend. So, what do we do to get around that? Well, there are two different methods you can use to get storage reliably and not worry about getting pulled into the elevator cutscene once you land. The first one is one that you'll see a lot of people do, which is where you line up and you do your storage, and then you shield jump out and you kind of like bounce out like that. It helps to have a slick shield. Like you can do this with a normal shield where you kind of like, let's see, where as you hit the ground you trip over. Like that's fine. But it's easier to have a slick shield because it gives you more of a window to shield jump out of the shrine. The only problem with this is what the game wants to do is it really wants you to go into the shrine once you get elevator storage. Like if you land at any point on the shrine surface, inside or outside, the game will pull you into the elevator cutscene. So having a slick shield where you have more of a window to get out helps a lot. And it is actually very quick. So what you do is you aim down, you jump against the wall, and right here, as you're doing a fall damage cancel, which is releasing the throw aim, unequipping your shield or the weapon, whichever, you're going to press A the moment that you leave the menu. And as you press A to get out, you're going to make sure to hop forward, re-equip your shield jump by pressing X and A. So you're holding ZL, X and A, and hop. And there you go. Okay. Now the other method, which is my method, that is a lot safer and a lot easier in my opinion, is to use a pepper updraft. Now, why does this work? Good question. But apparently when you light a pepper on fire, it creates an updraft that works just the same as a campfire. Now, obviously you have to be quick because then it turns into a charred pepper and then you're done. So, but there are a couple things that you can do to kind of get past this. Either you just be quick and you get it first try, like a Giga Chad that you are, or if you light it on fire, but you fail to get your storage, you can just pick it up again and try over, right? And the other thing that you can do to extend it is once you light on fire, you can stasis it, and it will go on for even longer. So that's really handy. It'll burn throughout the timer of the stasis, and then once it's out of there, you're done. So that can be a way of kind of extending your opportunity to get storage if you fail. So, how do we do my method? We go ahead and we set up with our pepper. You want to put it kind of right here on the corner of the door, if you can get like the wind to cooperate, or like you're just bouncing RNG. Like right about here is where you want it to be. Not too far away or you won't get an updraft inside the elevator chamber, and not too close or you'll just pick the pepper up. So then you can go ahead and line yourself up in position. And if you have a flame weapon, this makes it easier, but I'll show how to do with a fire arrow too, because in the instance of, say, going from Shivanir, the Dueling Peach Shrine, from Ridahi to Shivanir, which is somewhere here because it's not on the map, you have to use a fire arrow because you don't have a flame weapon yet. So all you do is shoot a fire arrow next to it. You don't want to shoot the pepper itself because you will just yeet it into the back of the elevator, then you have to start over. But shoot the fire next to it, and then once it's on fire, get in position and do a fall damage cancel against the wall to get storage. The position that you want to be in, that I have kind of labbed and figured out and honed since I've made that first tutorial, is you want Link's feet to be essentially on the edge of the elevator. Like a little bit too far forward is fine, a little bit back is fine, but about at the edge of the elevator is where you want to be. And you also want to be a little bit left of center. Like you can kind of see this mark here is dead center on the elevator. You put Link's feet in the middle of it and maybe a little bit to the left. The reason you do this is because if you jump from too far away, you can't get a jump against the wall when you do the fall damage cancel. See? But if you're a little bit closer to the wall, you should be able to do it. So you don't want to hold ZL. No holding ZL, just R. Do a side hop, hook your finger around, and you get the hop. Okay? So that's how you get the hop off the wall. Now let's do the whole thing where we get storage and we fly away. So we got our pepper in place. You can swing at it, aim, mash X and A as you're holding left, and then glide out. And the great thing about this is once you get storage, you can walk around anywhere you want, just as long as you don't touch the shrine or you don't look back at the shrine. Because the moment you look back at the shrine, you're going to get pulled in. Now, what allows you to do this, where you get storage and you just walk around the shrine, is called walking storage. You know, clever name. But what makes this handy, obviously, is that you can just go and set up anywhere you want to. It's quicker, but the thing that you have to avoid, especially if you're doing pepper storage, is that you have to wait until the pepper is done burning and transforms into something else. What makes you get pulled into a shrine instantly when you touch the ground with campfire updrafts is the updraft itself. The updraft is, for whatever reason, interacting with the elevator activation storage, so that the moment that you do touch outside ground, it's going to activate. So I'll show you what that looks like if you do it wrong. So you get storage and the pepper is still burning, and we went right back in, even though we weren't even looking at the shrine. So you want to just be very careful to not land until after the pepper has finished burning and the updraft has disappeared. So those are the kind of advanced storage method that we're going to go over. All right, so now let's talk about Infinity SCW science. Okay, so what's a good summary of this? Basically, here's the Breath of the Wild object map that you can find by Googling Breath of the Wild object map. And what you got here is options to do all sorts of stuff. You can add any kind of like landmarks you want to, like DLC shrines or Koroks or places, or you can just have nothing on there. And what I've done is I've gone into the search bar and typed entrance ELEV, entrance ELEV asterisk, and clicked add all to map. And this gives me the unload radius of every shrine on the map, from regular shrines that are just kind of sitting out in the open, like say Rota'u here, and it'll show you its elevator unload radius. And even like underground shrines like Julu Na, which are way bigger. So what does this mean exactly? All these circles on the map. What these mean is this is the position. Oh, they actually updated that. That's cool. This is the position at which the shrine's elevator will disappear. So you can get elevator storage, and once you walk past this line, you will then lose the elevator storage completely. So maybe a couple of years ago now, we learned that Katakar is special. You can see that it says dungeon object entrance elevator A01. And what that means is that its elevator is tied to the ice block that surrounds it for whatever reason. So its shrine elevator, what you would expect to be, is rather small, like say Rota'u, is actually 1,500 meters. It's very, very big. And you can measure these things by going into the drawing tool and clicking circle and then drawing it over. So 1,500 meters, 1.5 kilometers. It's pretty big, right? Let's go ahead and delete that really quick. So that's cool. Now we know that Katakar, up here where I am in the game, is a very useful shrine because you can see that its unload elevator radius encompasses Julu Na, which is the, I guess, test of will or something, where you let yourself be on fire until the Gorons say you win the game. It can let you get into this DLC shrine down here by the Yiga hideout. It can let you get into Shodantu, which is nearby, Sasakai, which is nearby. But the real unfortunate thing is that it does not encompass Raqa Zunzo, which we talked about in part 3 of the tutorial. There's no way to do this shrine by any nearby underground shrine because no elevator encompasses it, unfortunately. So that sucks. So what does that mean for us? It means that we had to get storage here at Dakochise, wind bomb over the city, and pause and buffer the game to try and skip the frame in which the elevator of Dakochise was assigned to unload until we landed near the proximity of Raqa Zunzo and enter it that way. It's a difficult trick, it's tedious, it takes a lot of effort, and it was kind of a run killer for a lot of people. I know myself, I lost several good paces to not getting this trick first try. So, kind of a deterrent from people running all shrines, right? Well, it turns out, through the work of people like iTNT Piston and Limcube and Bings and myself that dungeon elevators like this, like Katakar, do in fact have an unload radius at 1500 meters, but what that means is that once you cross this line, you won't automatically trigger a cutscene once you, say, pick up a new item, talk to an NPC, sit on a campfire, any text box that you brings up. As long as you're within this radius, with storage from Katakar, you will immediately activate that elevator. So even though this is outside of it, it appears that it's still possible to get an SCW into Raqa Zunzo unbuffered. And in fact, you can do a SCW into any shrine on the map from Katakar. But there's a very special condition that lets you do this, and we're calling it a quick text box. Basically, you know, when you pick up a new item, or you sit on a campfire, or you talk to somebody, that text box can be anywhere from a full second to a couple seconds or several, you know, close to a minute. But there are a couple of quick text boxes in the game, such as talking to a Korok, for example. When you talk to a Korok, you get a very quick text box. Let's see if I can find one really quickly to kind of like illustrate this point. But once you have a Korok and you talk to it, you can see it has a very quick text box. Like it's just a few frames, right? So that's kind of cool, right? And what this quick text box does for us is it actually lets us trigger a cutscene for the elevator before it has the opportunity to disappear. And you can factually do this with a campfire. Like, it has been done to do a quick text box with a campfire as long as you mash quickly enough and you get kind of lucky. But what we kind of learned is that with this Infinity SCW, the only thing that you have to do, as long as you have these special elevators stored, is to get a quick text box to force the cutscene to play before the game has the opportunity to unload it. And that's not on a timer, it just simply happens in the middle of a text box, at least whatever next text box you collect. So it's incumbent upon you to try and find a quick text box at whatever shrine you have. Okay, so now that we talked a bit about the science of what an Infinity SCW is, where you can go from one shrine, let's talk about quick text boxes and where this is possible. The other shrines on the map where this is possible, I'm on the wrong thing, is the shrines where you can do this are Katakar, which, as I said a minute ago, is an A1 elevator. The other shrines on the map that are also A1 elevators, apparently, are Shaqa, which is the Feroce scale one, Jitan Sami, which is the Nadra scale one, Tutsuwanima, which is the Dinral scale shrine, as well as Kayra Mah, which is the Greedy Hill Rock Roast one, and Maghalan, which is the Test of Wood shrine, and Dog Choka, which is the Oki escort mission. So these are the shrines you can do that from. And if you want to take note, it is Katakar, Shaqa, Jitan Sami, Tutsuwanima, Kayra Mah, Maghalan, Dog Choka. Those are your Infinity SCW storage shrines. So now we're going to talk about getting a quick text box. You can do that by getting a Korok, which there are a couple places where you can do that. Like, say, if you want to skip the camera, there's a Korok right here on top of this shrine, and you can use that to enter Shaqa Tatone as long as you have storage. However, it doesn't really make a lot of sense in a speedrun context to do that, to go in this area, get a Korok, and then leave to a place where you can get storage and then come back. So, Swiffy and Piston kind of developed a couple of different ways to get quick text boxes that are sort of tricky. One is through picking up an item just before it transforms, and this should be like a new item. And the other one is by picking up a chew jelly that you've never seen before, and right before it transforms into another. And there are a couple of different little setups for this that I've helped figure out that I'm going to teach to you right now. So what you need is a blue chew jelly. And obviously you've picked this up before, so that's not helpful for us for getting a new text box. So we're going to transform it into something we haven't seen before, like ice jelly. So you have the question mark text boxes. And what you're going to do is, it's for whatever reason easier to do a fire arrow or do an electric arrow shot. And the reason for that is because like these arrows like transform things at different speeds and they shoot at different speeds, and the setup for them is a little bit different. But what you need to know about this, and I'm going to do it and then kind of like analyze the footage after, is you want to line up the fire arrow at the bottom of the chew jelly, and then you can just shoot it, like release ZR and tap A in quick succession to pick up the item, but it's easier to buffer it. And this was found by Tau++, where you just aim the arrow and pause, and then release the controller, and then you're going to slide your thumb from B to A. And hopefully not move the controller too much. Like I was moving it obviously to show you, but slide from B to A, and you got it. So what happened right there? So you pick up the white chew jelly, and it transforms into something else. Right? So that's the setup for shooting a fire arrow. The setup for shooting an electric arrow is not the same, at least not for how I understand it. What you want to do for this one is you want to put the point of the arrow, like the electric ball, inside of the text box, the question mark text box, and maybe even like with it sticking out a little bit. And I'm actually resting the controller on my leg so that the camera doesn't jerk around too much when I actually do shoot and unpause. But you want it to rest right there in the text box and slide from B to A. Okay? So that's how you get your text box. And I'll review it. I'll review it again just so you can see the setup. So you put down a blue chew jelly. You transform it into something you don't have, like ice. And then you, for a fire arrow shot, you rest the fireball point at the bottom of the jelly. Okay? And this could actually be easier if you turn gyro off or if you don't use gyro at all. But if you do, just make sure to keep the controller steady after you pause. Okay? And for shooting an electric arrow from something you don't have yet, rest the electric point in the box with a little bit poking out. There you go. Which I'm very happy that that worked first try, because that means that my setup works. Okay. Now we've gone over the entire quick text box thing. There's a little bit of a problem here, though, that you're probably already realizing. If you are going to have to pick up a new text box item each time you do this, you can only do 3 of these types of quick text boxes for Infinity SCW, which sort of sucks, because that means that you're limited to just picking which ones you actually want to do. unless you can find another thing which to interact with. So, I want to note something that kind of sucks about practicing this. Obviously, you need to be able to get the new text boxes here, but if you are trying to, say, play or practice this on a casual file, it's not going to work for you because you probably already picked these items up. So it will help for you to set up a file to be able to do this for on your Switch, unless you have the practice mod, which, you know, if you have that, good for you. But I've set up a file specifically for this to practice where I haven't picked up these items. Okay, so this is how you do the Raqa Zunzo Infinity SCW. We're going to put down a pepper to do our updraft. You're more than welcome to do the front-facing shield hop strat out. That is faster, but a little bit riskier. I've seen people who are very good at it just fail it and run, so it's up to you. Set it on fire, set up in position, do a fall damage cancel, and mash X and A to get storage. Wait until the pepper is done burning before we touch the ground again. And then go over to this tree and chop it down. And we didn't get a stick or a Korok leaf to fall, which can happen. It can land right here in the way of getting our SCW started. So what you want to do in that situation, if you get a Korok leaf in the way, is just put a bomb next to it and blow it up to send it away, so that it's not in the way. And then you get your BLSS set up, aim at the trunk, and hold B. And what you want to do is start wiggling toward the side of this mountain, making sure that once you get around it, you want to stay as close to it as possible. Because apparently, there exists a circumstance if you get too close to the Gerudo Tower down there, you can make the elevator unload, and that would be bad. And that's a data decomp thing that we've kind of learned. So try to avoid that area as best you can by steering your BLSS away from it. And then you want to land near the shrine. And a thing that I neglected to mention is that for my quick text box setup, you want to kind of put the chew jelly on flat ground. It seems to help with the setup because, you know, the closer you are to an object, or if you're sloped down a surface or whatever, it's going to change the arrow shot and the timing. So to get the quick text box, you put down a chew jelly, shoot it with something you don't have yet, like ice. Place the bottom of the arrow at the, or place the tip of the arrow at the bottom of the object, and fuck it up. Transform it again. There you go. We picked up the item before it disappeared and turned into a red choo-choo jelly, and that pulled us into the shrine. Okay? So that's Raqa Zunzo. Now we're going to go to Shaqa, which is another Infinity SCW shrine, and we're going to go to Shaqa Tatone. Here on the map, you'll see that... What did I just do? Shaqa Tatone is down here by the beach. It's the one that you show pictures of Guardians to, which means obviously that you need the camera. So this is a shrine that you can Infinity SCW into if you want to not only save time, but also skip getting the camera rune. So another thing I forgot to mention about Infinity SCWs is at any point in the trick, do not look back at the shrine. Like, you can be all the way down here by the beach, do not look back at the shrine, because that will cause it to perhaps unload. So what you want to do is create an updraft or do the shield jump storage method. It's a little far away. Hesitate for a sec so that the pepper can burn. Glide through the door. Aim at the left side of the mountain to wind bomb out. Then wind bomb or run up to this spot. And you're going to use this crevice here to set up your BLSS. And then you want to aim almost directly at this white streak on the hill to get started. And we're going to not look at the back at the shrine by mistake this time. And start your wiggles going to the right side of this mountainous area. And you'll recognize where Shaqa Tatone is because it has this big mushroom-shaped rock here. And then we're going to go to a nice flat spot on the ground to do our setup. Put down a blue chew jelly and shoot it with an electric arrow to make sure that it transforms into something new. Put the arrow at the bottom of the jelly as we talked about before. And there you go. So Jitan Sami is up here on the top of Mount Lanayru. It is the Spring of Wisdom. And this is another Infinity SCW shrine. And what I'm going to be doing with it is I'm going to be going to Kayra, which is the shrine where you take pictures of chunks of rock that are supposed to be the mirror of Twilight and show it to a guy. It takes about 3.5 to 4 minutes if you're really good, and it can be a bit of a pain, which also means you need to download the camera rune up here at the Akala Tech Lab. Let me just bring up the shrines so you can see them. So normally you'd have to go to the tech lab and get the camera. That takes over a minute to get it, and then you'd have to take pictures of your pieces of rock and then show it to the guy, and it takes another 3.5 minutes. What a lot of people do is they do a buffered SCW from Muojim, which has an unload radius of about 64 meters, into the Kayra Shrine. Now, theoretically, this shouldn't be so bad. As you can see, the elevators, or the unload radius isn't that far from the elevator. You only have to really buffer from this spot to this spot, so it shouldn't be so bad. I don't know why, but I can't do it. I don't know what's wrong with my methods, but it's one that I've literally never been able to get. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go from Jitan Sami with an Infinity SCW all the way to Kayra. Some people are going from Kayra, or from Jitan Sami to Shayota, and that could save time too because it takes, 3.5 minutes or something. But we're going to do it to make sure that we do effectively skip the camera and make a cameraless all shrines run worth it. Okay, so let's do this. Let's save here at Jitan Sami, and we're going to get a pepper SCW like we did before. Of course, you're welcome to do the shield surf. I'm not saying you can't. I know it's faster. Shut up. Get storage. Wait for a second. And then you're going to BLSS from here. It kind of helps to put the bomb next to this pillar. And then aim at the pillar and walk into it. And what I want to do, and this is not exactly proven, but I want to avoid going anywhere near the tech lab down there or Hateno Village, because I think it could help unload the elevator. So you kind of steer around it, heading toward the peninsula out here. where Muojim is, and you want to land by that big tree down there. And I'm going to use the tree as kind of a balance point to do the trick. Sort of like keep the thing in place and also to have flat ground. Okay, so... Oh, we have a friend. Hello, friends. Is this going to be a problem? We're about to find out. So let's, this time, turn it into a fire jelly. And we're going to line up the arrow on top of the text box, so sticking out a little bit. And that triggers our text box. And that's how you skip the camera. I want to note that this is probably a good 30 seconds slower than an optimal buffered SCW from Muojim to Kayra. It's probably a good 30 seconds slower, but I'd rather get the trick first try and do the camera skip than struggle. And that's just my personal preference. You're obviously welcome to do something different. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a different kind of iSCW without using chew jellies. You've probably realized that we've talked about 3 so far, which uses up our 3 new text boxes from chew jellies. So we're going to have to find a different way of getting into Kayra Mah here, which is the Rock Roast Greedy Hill one. We're going to warp to Mag Halan, and we're going to use a sign that's just outside of Gorko Tunnel here. And if I, let's say, let's draw the elevator radius, or the loading radius around it. So 100 meters just encompasses the sign, which is about here. So that should work out for us just fine, right? Who knows? All right, so here we are outside of Mag Halan. The thing that kind of sucks about this is that, one, talking to the sign is a slower text box, so it's possible to lose the elevator storage in the middle of it, so you kind of have to be a quick masher. And the other thing that sucks about it is if you fail this, even if you do save outside of Mag Halan, the game is going to transport you to the start of the Test of Wood Shrine. So then you have to either wind bomb back to Mag Halan or warp back there. So you kind of don't want to fail this. So, same deal. We get our storage with a pepper. Okay. And then what I do is I try to glide and climb up the tree because it's easier to kind of clear the tree lines. And then tilt the camera all the way up to try and reduce some lag, because it is really easy to fail this with the amount of lag in the area. And then making sure to keep your eyes away from the camera, or sorry, away from the shrine we just came from. Come up to really anywhere you can get up here. This is not super specific, you just need to get up to the top of the mountain. And then come up to these rocks. And now we're gonna eat, and then we're gonna do a turn super looking right of due east. Okay. And once we get around these rocks here on the left, which you can land at to do a wind bomb, we're going to steer around so that we're at the Greedy Hill. And then do a midair. And I don't know why, but it appears as though doing this is better if you are actively on fire. There you go. So you just press A and mash B as fast as you can on the sign, and you get pulled right into Kayra Mah. And the being on fire thing is maybe copium, but it certainly has helped me, so I can recommend it. All right, so here is the setup for getting out. We're going to go to a spot here while we're burning, obviously. Here is where you want to be. There's kind of a curvature of rock going up a hill right here. That's where you want to be. And you want to walk kind of up to that lighter part of the rock and aim a little bit right of due south, like this. And get your skew. And then the spot where I aim is, you see this dark line? It's right here, this line. You want to be on the right side of that, aiming a little bit right of north, and be standing kind of close to the rock to do your ESC. And you're through the rock, and then erase skew. And it's good to have either done the duplication glitch to get infinite fairies, or just cook a hearty meal. And then where you're going to clip back in is there's these two bumps here that you want to walk to. You want to be in the middle of them, a little bit to the left, and just hold forward to walk through it. I said, just hold forward to walk out of it. There you go. So that's how you get out. It's a little bit sketchy. You're going to want to practice this on a casual file with armor for a bit to get a sense for the execution of the ESC, but it's not too bad once you get the hang of it. Okay, that's it. That is my infinite SCW tutorial. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want more videos like this. And thanks for watching. Catch me on twitch.tv/orchrist_GC. And I'll see you around.